Well, another day, another dollar, another week through, and another Beardy Boys podcast. So,
We're here. We're
last
Beard.
last week we did a double shot, basically because
We did.
of a error on my behalf. Sorry about that.
What
Also,
about double shots?
oh shit, I done fucked up my camera. Damn it, again. I can't. All right, let me fix this shit. Hold on. Let's tilt it back up. There we go.
This is rum nice.
Dude, I got Mini Lads Hero on my shirt. I forgot.
Hey there, baby.
Ah,
Yeah, whatever.
Johnny Bravo.
God, it that line that you said like we got so much shit over that because you defended Johnny Bravo from Mini Lad, and now it's like you were right, and turns out everything that you said, you literally said during that, just like, man, it's usually the biggest offenders of that kind of stuff that usually says shit like that because they want to try and deflect and put
Anybody
all the
that goes that hard, yeah. Anybody who's like tripping that hard about something, there's one of two things that happen. They're either very traumatized by an event that's happened that involved that subject, or they are violators of that situation. They're the predators. They're the fucking pieces of the shit. So like they're either deflecting or they're just venting their trauma on the situation. And you could tell that guy is a fucking snake oil fucking piece of shit.
Agreed.
He pretended to be a cartoon character, kind of, and is a miserable piece of shit, as we all know.
Mm-hmm.
Who turns his back on his friends on a whim, thinks he's better than everybody, and thinks that children are objects for his sexual desires. So, fuck him.
and
Agreed.
gaslighting his own life.
Yeah.
You try
If you
to
say
talk
anything,
about
my fans will kill themselves. Like, dude, you're a fucking idiot.
it. Do you know what's very, very, very odd about this conversation?
What's
What?
that?
My most recent comment on my channel. Wait, Let me turn
Are
my-
you serious?
let me turn on my other camera.
I miss Minnie. Really?
Yep. What the hell? Why is my camera on this one?
I don't
What is
get
going
it.
on?
I don't get it.
Look, I'm not a perfect person.
Yeah, I miss Minnie. Why? What do you miss about him, huh? Oh, do you miss the glory days before you knew that he was a creep? Is that it? You miss those days where you could just pretend that he wasn't an absolute piece of shit? Jesus.
Sorry
There's a-
for the
there's a-
editing work.
There's a time and a place where you just have to accept the truth for what it is and let it go. Let it go. Move on with your life. You'll be a lot happier. Because here's the thing. You're saying all this shit to try and defend Minnie Lad. Minnie doesn't even know you exist.
At all. No.
He
He
will
doesn't.
never, ever stoop to knowing that you exist because he doesn't
Nor
care.
will he care. Nor will he care. Yeah.
He will never care. And the fact that
I'm
go
sorry.
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
We've
The fact-
rehashed this enough. Are we recording right now? Are we just going to talk shit about Mini Lad? I'm all for it.
Well, no. Well, this is just like the opening bit, I guess. So,
Yeah,
like
fuck
the
Mini
opening,
Lad.
The opening 4 or 5 minutes of this video is just going to be us shitting on Mini Lad because
Straight up.
you know.
Well,
Uh,
the Vanoss
go-
crew can't really do that because they have better and bigger things to do.
Well, yeah,
But the fact of the matter is, the guy's still out here on YouTube right now.
yeah.
He still streams, he still does stuff, and he has tried to pressure underage girls from coming forward, and people he's manipulated in his fan base, and that's fucking hammered, dude.
Yeah.
The one thing
It's stupid. It's stupid that YouTube still allows him to stream, and knowing that he uses his platform in a predatory manner against minors.
And he said in a video a year after the whole incident, he says that incident was the best thing that ever happened to his life.
He's in league with the Booty Warrior. Getting caught for that bullshit's the best thing they ever had in their life. I calls you Chris Handsome.
He's like, oh, it gave me so much clarity. It made my mental health way more better. Made me value life better.
Okay, so he pretty much said this event was all about me.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
It's like the victims don't matter once again, Craig. I've yet to meet a Craig that I think there's one Craig that I know that's all right. Most of them suck ass.
Most of
Like,
them.
I know some Craigs that are fucking assholes, dude, and he's one of them. Well, I don't know him. I've just been exposed to him, unfortunately. Thanks, Nate. You gave me fucking mini lad herpes.
Hey, man, trust me. I still, I feel shitty about it, too, dude. I mean, that's...
And it just sucks whenever you see this guy. Like, I saw Mini Lad, I was like, dude, people probably picked on him like a motherfucker. Like, I want to like this guy. He's happy. He's doing his thing. He's found a niche, and he's really fucking killing it. I didn't know about the Vanoss crew or anything. I see this guy, I'm like, you know what? Good for this guy who probably was hung by his underwear on a locker. Good for this guy that probably, had a terrible time. When you see somebody make a break that you are sure had a rough go of it when, they were growing up and stuff, you're just like, good for them, And I thought he was funny. I agree, the meme reactions and shit like that were cool because watching memes with your friends is always fun, no matter who's doing it. And so I was glad to be doing reactions to his shit with Nate. And then here this son of a bitch goes. And it was like on a compilation of shit in cartoons when we were growing up that like may have crossed the line, which there's a lot of, and Johnny Bravo's one of them for sure.
Yeah.
But it's satire because people used to hit on chicks that hard back in the day.
Yeah, and Johnny
still do.
Yeah, and Johnny's way of going about it was always as like a boneheaded blonde-haired doof. That's all it ever was. And
nobody was ever championing his cause.
Exactly. People were laughing at him because of how pathetic he was, because he couldn't pick up a woman to save his life. And then Minnie's just like, oh,
dude,
going back.
He took a hard stand on it.
And he's like, oh, going back and watching Johnny Bravo nowadays is so uncomfortable because, I know Johnny's the hero and he's so strong and this and that and blah, blah, blah. I'm like,
no.
That's not how that works. And I was just like sitting there and I was listening to this, and then Chad chimed in about it first, and I'm just like, yeah, that actually makes no sense with how it's being portrayed by Minnie. I'm just like, yeah, so I got to call bullshit on that.
But my stance on the whole thing was like, he is making this a point, like, for a while. He's to the point where, like, I know I'm a hothead. I used to be much more than I am now, but like, it pissed me off. I was like, dude, this guy's talking shit about something totally out of context. And Johnny Bravo is not a bad cartoon. Like, it's one of the fucking legendary ones, dude. It's part of what made Cartoon Network supreme once it hit cable, basic cable. Like, that was one of the shows that really made the fucking whole gimmick, because it was a bunch of shows working together that made it work.
Yeah.
And so, like, he made it seem like in our generation, we were saying this is how you should do it. Like, this is the guy that we all think's the man. Nobody thought Johnny Bravo was the man. We thought he was funny as hell, and it was ridiculous. That's the thing. It was over the line. It was ridiculous. So it's like, dude, why is he doing this? There was some kind of like Freudian thing going on there where he was trying to like project some shield of like, I am so different than this. I am so much better than this. And it's like, dude, what chord is this striking with you, man, that you've got to lash out at fucking Johnny Bravo?
Yeah. There's many more things out there that you could be mad about, and many more things. Like, there's actual stuff today that is actually like offensive in a lot of ways that you
But
could
like that's
talk
on
about.
your mind, bro. We're watching a fucking video about this shit that's just like
Silly
funny,
memes from
ridiculous shit.
yeah.
And here he goes on this big tirade about how you need to treat women with respect, all the while gaslighting children, like what the fuck? And manipulating children, getting
That's all.
inappropriate images from children.
Mm,
You know what
never
else?
ending.
Being
What?
a fucking idiot.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that was a good opener. So all right, what are some topics that y'all want to discuss? I guess we can go with whoever wants to go first.
I guess I could go. Okay.
Go ahead, Rick.
Yeah, ever heard of an individual named Carly Russell?
Carly Russell. Hold on.
That name
She
sounds
made
familiar.
she made news as of last month for staging and
Kidnapping.
hoaxing
Yes.
for
Oh,
kidnapping.
that's right.
Yes, I heard about that.
Damn.
Man, people, they just don't understand how hard they got us pressed right now. Like, you can't get by with nothing, dude. We're so known about. People used to
And
be on the DL back in the day. You could do some
Mm-hmm.
slick shit. Now,
With the
try and
internet.
disappear, bro. Try and disappear, bro.
and the
If
thing
you're-
is, like
Go
for
ahead.
me, it's just it sucks because when you look into like people with my culture background, we've you get like this little quote unquote stereotype that but like we don't make the news much. People that Latino community or people who are in the black community, they don't get much press on TV. Usually when you see things on like national news television about a kidnapping or a abduction,
Yeah.
eight out of 10 times it's a white little girl or a white little boy.
Yeah,
You don't
that's
really see
systemic
much.
racism. Yeah, for sure. Because all the tragedy, you expect that from those people when you're, you know, the
Yeah.
basic white bitch. Is
Yeah,
that's
and
just
whereas I think that that's absolutely atrocious that systematically these news organizations don't report on
Yeah.
this on the same level and I think that that's absolute stupidity because you need like fairness and equality in reporting and fairness and equality in like the representation of what the reality is. Otherwise, people are going to live with a skewed representation of like, oh, they're not talking about this on the news, so why should I give a shit about it in my community, or why should I give a shit about it happening in another neighborhood? It's like, dude, it's insanity to me that this is still a thing, and
It has been
it needs to be
made-
done away with.
it's been made this whole idea that it's a liberal point to care about black people dying, people of color dying, or going missing, or whatever. It really is. That's one of their talking points. Anytime you try to bring up how police don't respond, the news doesn't report, there are no fucking help, the police don't even fucking go in the neighborhoods anymore, they refuse to after sundown, EMS don't even want to go in after sundown. It's just like, well, it's not as bad, blah, blah, blah. It ain't that big of a deal. You're just making it about race. It's like, dude, some shit is about race. Obviously.
Well,
And
I
that's
would
what
also
pisses me off
say,
about the situation.
yeah,
Go
go ahead, Rick.
Nate.
Oh.
You go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say that a part of it is that, and also a part of it is just, basically a cocoon that is being kept around these communities from certain entities who literally want it to be that way, and it's just like it maintains itself because the community, there's a lot of these communities that demand that police are not there after 9 o'clock. There's a lot of like in Chicago, there's like at least 20 neighborhoods that have a no police policy, like period, past a certain time frame, like past 6 p.m. They don't want police in there. And it's like, and,
I mean,
and this
if
is
you
something
ask
that
the
they voted
scared
on.
mothers and children, probably not.
No, but that's the
No, they're
thing.
probably scared to death.
They are, but that's the problem that is unfortunately in a lot of communities that are tight knit like that. There's a no snitching policy, and you basically just got to go with what everyone else believes because If you don't, then you're a pariah.
You can still report on that. You can still talk about that. That subject on the news would be something that people need to know about. You can't even if it was on the news, you can't get the police and EMS can't even go in this neighborhood at this time of night.
Yeah, but that's the problem.
I mean,
it's just like, and here's the thing. I think communities who demand this, it's all well and good. If that's what they want, that's what they want. Cool. All right. You don't want emergency services and you don't want the police in there after certain times. Okay. But at the same time, you have to. I'm all aboard with like the no snitching policy when it comes to like possession, whenever it comes to like people indulging in public. Like if someone's smoking weed in public, they ain't hurting me. I don't give a shit.
right.
But the very moment a body hits the floor, I'm sorry, no snitching policy's got to go out the window because that's a life that has just been lost, and something has to be done about it. And I don't care what anyone says, a life is a life.
Yeah, but
whether
that's
it's black or white or male or female.
Mass majority of this is like Boys in the Hood. This is like theater we're talking about. In reality, people would say something. People do say something about nobody cares. That's the problem. It's not that people don't go, oh, my grandchild just died. He had a problem with this guy. The investigators go, let me add it to the pile. I'll see you guys when I don't. And that's just the way it is. It's partially
that, but there's also no community outcry. There's no community outcry.
What were protests and fucking like all this shit that have happened? It didn't just spark the news covered the big ones, but that shit's something that happens pretty regularly where there's protests and people standing out there picking. They may not be throwing bricks through windows, so it's not like provocative enough for people to care.
Yeah.
But that's why it's a slang term to put somebody on a t-shirt. What do you think that is? They're saying this motherfucker is gone.
Yeah.
And do something, help. And it's just not. And they're usually kids. It's usually 16, 15. These people it happens all the time. Like you said, Chicago.
Chicago, Milwaukee, dude. There was a news story that there were no protests over this or anything like that. There were no demand to do anything about it because the community just stayed quiet about it. It was in Milwaukee. Little girl was sitting on her front porch waiting for her dad to get home. Drive-by shooting. Bang. She's dead.
Well, how long do you have to climb up a mountain before you give up? Till your fingernails fall off? Till your fingers start falling off? People get tired. Would you trust people that historically, not only, we don't even have to go as far as slavery, but just gave syphilis to men on purpose? Like, how do you even trust? That's the whole thing about when people start talking shit about, like, minorities not trusting the COVID vaccine and shit. It's like, well, I mean, when the government starts offering help with healthcare and shit, and they've done this to you in the past, I would be skeptical about it.
Well, I mean, I was skeptical about a lot of that shit too, man. I mean, honestly,
it makes sense. Even when there's people trying to offer you help, it makes sense why there's resistance, because it's like, why do you care now? Look at all these examples of why you didn't give a fuck yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and this is why I've always advocated for, better police training and more police to help take care of these cases that need it.
You can't do that. You can't train them. You can't hire them. You can't do anything when they don't have any money.
And that's what I'm saying. Again, I'm not for defunding the police. I'm all about like just siphoning their funds to go towards better police training and more police who can actually handle this shit and who can actually take and that's always been what I've been about, man. I've never been about, and that's the thing. The communities themselves can basically provide the police officers, so that way the community can, in a lot of ways, police itself with the right training and with the right equipment and with the right people. Because that's the thing, when you have someone from like Bensonhurst going to like Harlem to try and take care of some shit, you're gonna have some overlap in people who are just like, why is a motherfucker from Bensonhurst here? Why can't we get an officer from Harlem here? Or
it is interesting though that the news picks up this story and everybody knows about it when somebody goes missing and it's a hoax. When you can point the finger and laugh, then everybody wants to talk about it.
And yeah,
Yeah.
then that's
But
the
you were
part
gonna
that
say,
kind of like upsets me is because the whole entire conversation we're just talking about now about how the minorities that don't get taken serious about crimes, things happening in the community, them dying, them getting kidnapped, trafficked, all that kind of sorts.
mm-hmm.
And then we finally get a story that's breaking national news about this one girl who was 25 years old and whatever state she was in, which is in
Alabama.
the Alabama.
Yep.
We finally get somebody of color that's on the news for help, and we have all these teams to go look for her just for it to be a hoax. And then you already have people with a certain mindset, and then God forbid a kidnapping actually happens or a trafficking actually happens to another, black minority. People are gonna comment, "This is a hoax. Why are you putting it? Why are you putting it on TV? This is another hoax. They want attention." And that's the part that makes like we just took 30 steps back.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah.
Like we were going in a semi good direction. Yes, the whole 2020 situation or 21. Not obviously the riot parts was not good, but like you were just stating before with the news only focused on those big riots.
But there was many more, and a lot more went
90%
down.
of all, over 90% of all protests were peaceful. Police were holding hands with the protesters, walking down the streets in their downtown area or by the city hall area. You had all these other states, hundreds of cities where it was peaceful. Not one fight broke out. The police walked with the protesters, hand in hand, walking with flags, walking with banners, trying to get reform, trying to get more attention to it. Not one news station went to
No,
any
that's not
of those
interesting. It's not
peaceful.
provocative.
Well, because the news stations, I hate to say it, but sowing seeds of discord, and I'm not saying that the news apparatus is being paid
Hey.
for by certain people to make it to where we keep hating each other.
Look.
But I'm not saying that, but at the same time, they do focus on a lot of the bullshit instead of focusing on the actual good shit.
The only reason that they care about us hating each other is because they can make a lot of money off of it. Because if something fires you up,
Yeah.
you go back to it. If it gives you an
Yeah.
emotional reaction, it's manipulation, is what it is. It's propaganda.
And basically, it's us getting pimped out.
Dude,
The American populace gets pimped out every single time.
It is horrible. Like I remember, I was at Fort Sam Houston studying to go to course while I was in course school. And I took a break with my friends to go to the bowling alley, and they served these like Crown Royal little airplane bottles you could buy as shots at the bowling alley. So we would just get wrecked and bowl. And I went to grab some shots, and there was a line, so I just sat down because I'd already had about 3 of them. And I looked at the TV, and the news was going about Sandy Hook. They were doing a candlelight vigil like the day after it happened or something like that. And they're having these parents interviewing literally the day after it happened, dude. The news is interviewing these parents, and I'm like, dude, that is fucking hammered. Leave these people alone. They're at a candlelight vigil for their child that just got murdered. Here comes a Coca-Cola ad. I said, oh, man, I never thought about, you know how you just grow up, like, and you start seeing shit for what it is. I just heard the weeping parent of one of these people who'd lost their children at Sandy Hook, and then here comes an ad for some fucking product. And I was like, dude, I'm lit. I cannot even think about this right now. That is one of the most horribly offensive things I've ever seen in my life.
And this is why whenever I do a serious talk video, like whenever I talk about something tragic that happened, or whenever I talk about like a personal, like when Chelsea passed away, I would never in a million years ever think to monetize that. You know why? Because that is not something that you monetize. You do not monetize something of that nature because...
Well, I mean, hey, that situation, I agree with not monetizing it, but you got to think, like, a dozen children
at
school.
Yeah.
Like, and these are just the most professional people on planet Earth, supposedly. Just the most,
Yeah.
they do everything right. So it's like, that is some crusty shit, dude. The
No,
fact
that's one
that
of
you're running ads while
yeah.
you're fucking broadcasting a vigil for a mass homicide against children like that, I mean, it was one of the most offensive things I've ever seen. And you know me, man. Like, if you're not blatantly being a bigot or truly being hateful in your heart, whatever. I mean, a joke's a joke.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get offended by a lot, but I was like offended as fuck seeing that. I was just like, dude, how dare you guys try to
Well,
profit off the deaths of children, you fucking savages.
well, yeah.
What is wrong with you?
Standing on top of their not even freshly dug graves. Like
You know?
they weren't even
It,
in the
it,
ground yet, dude.
it blew my mind, dude. It really, I was in a stressful situation anyway, blowing off steam, hanging out with my people I was in the military with. But it just like really hit home with me how ugly and wicked this world is, that people who consider themselves respectable would
Oh
profit
yeah.
off
It
of that.
well, and that's literally the news apparatus that we have, man. The news apparatus that we have in this country, they're like fuck the truth. Fuck the truth and fuck actually what is at stake here, with the American populace. Instead, it's like biggest tragedy in the history of the United States. Buy a Buick, buy a Chevrolet, buy a
Oh, for
Ford.
sure.
And it's like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that the stuff like that is beyond like disgusting.
Yeah.
It's a level
But
of
it's
fuck
like
that just
you
hurts me.
you have to be able to like unplug and like see it for what it is though. If you just see a commercial, you don't think that's money being
It is. It's
passed.
literally
That's money changing hands. But you
yes.
know what part of the deal for me was like, I started studying like advertising and shit a long time ago. Like I wanted to understand what the entertainment business was all about. And ad revenue has been the central, most important thing in broadcasting since the beginning of the whole gig.
How else do you think Wolf Blitzer, Don Lemon, and fucking Tucker Carlson are able to have these millions upon millions of dollars of contracts? It ain't
Well, I
because
mean, even
it ain't
like
because they're
radio and stuff like that,
yeah.
radio ads and
Yeah,
stuff,
well, it ain't
even way,
because
way
of
back in the day.
it ain't because of the fact that they're good at their job. It's
Mm.
because they're literally talking heads who can get people to believe anything. I hate to say it, but that's how most news reporters are out there. They have the cult of
Well,
personality. Once
that's
again,
not
we tie
really
back into
true
it.
when it comes back to the truth of journalism. Um, that's the reason why people say it's dead all the time because they're not really wrong. Like
No,
journalism is supposed to be an unbiased opinion. Like if you've ever seen um, just like a B-roll shot of something happening, that's journalism.
yeah,
You know, you're not trying. You shouldn't try and frame it in a certain light. What you're supposed to do is present to people what actually happened in reality without you. It's removed
uh,
from opinion. Journalism is removed from opinion.
I agree. And here's what I'll say. You notice Rick pointed this out to me. He pointed out that Facebook, Instagram, all of these platforms, they basically direct you to what they want you to see instead of directing you to if you're wanting to find news, it'll be like Kylie Jenner wax model was unveiled at Madame Tussauds museum, but instead of actual news, the shit happening over in France,
Hmm.
the protests that are
Yep.
happening over there. And guess what? There are very few platforms that have that, and the one platform that is maintaining focus on it and not really censoring it that much,
TikTok.
TikTok, and now Twitter. Oh, I'm sorry, X is now starting to pull the veil back as well, and they're starting to show stuff like that on Twitter again. And I was like, damn, okay. Now I know people shit on Elon Musk for making some boneheaded decisions by doing social media, but honestly, I respect the fact that he's pulling back the veil and letting people see what the truth is happening over in France. I mean, these are people who are getting beat, beat down by their government because of just like huge overreach, huge fucking overreach. It's like, dude, this is insane. And to get back to where we were talking, it's just like news media in this country will focus on the most outrageous stuff that is not pertaining to what the truth is.
You know what
They'll
really
do everything
sucks,
they can
though?
to dance around the truth, but not say anything.
What sucks is the fact that we are facing the same adversities that a lot of places are facing around the world when it comes to like oppression and shit like that. But any stand that you take against it is going to look like you agree with these crazy ass fucking Trump people and these crazy ass fucking Far Cry 5 religious cults and these gun nuts and all this shit. It's like the common.
Go ahead.
We have totally lost any momentum when it comes to pushing back against big government because of the lunatics that have been running wild for the past like 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, and there's also you saw that the guy who actually was like the biggest offender of the January 6th thing was the dude like, we should go into the Capitol building. Yeah, that like literally yelling that to like try
what
and
an idiot.
like try and bird call that out there to like make everyone want to do that. And guess what? He's in jail now because they finally caught him.
Dude.
And I'm like,
how many indictments is Trump gonna get? I doubt he's going to jail, but this motherfucker's probably gonna be on house arrest for a while.
Probably.
They should. I mean, look, I understand you can't tell a grown man what to do, but you've got to protect him from himself, dude. If you have a figurehead, just imagine you have Ric Flair running a promotional campaign for you. The best mouthpiece will say anything, draws attention like no other, and you're not just going to let this guy do whatever he wants.
No.
You've got to keep him in between the rails, and you can get this guy to convince people of anything. Yes. And look what they let him do, man. They let this guy walk around wild as hell and just spout out anything he wanted to, and it almost ended in the most epic disaster possible because those people on January 6th are the luckiest fucking human beings on planet Earth because they pulled that shit in America and didn't do it anywhere else.
Anywhere else, if they would have been in China or Russia, oh yeah, they wouldn't even made it into the building.
Yeah, no. It would have been just mist, red mist.
Yeah,
yeah,
they would have been made examples of.
I mean, we are literally, I would say, the only government on planet Earth that would have its capital treated like that and not dust people. But he did that, dude. I don't blame a single one of those people because the majority of people are stupid as hell. And we all have hopes and we got to find faith in something, and they just latched on to the wrong one.
Yeah.
And rode it to the end.
And unfortunately, herd mentality.
He's the one. He's the one who should pay for all of this shit.
Well, and whenever herd mentality is like one of the biggest things. Whenever it comes to stupid people, herd mentality is all they know how to do. Follow the leader. And whenever...
This world's crazy, dude. It is. I don't...
Whenever you
I
get
feel
the most,
bad
like,
for them.
Whenever you get the most, like, megalomaniacal, whenever you get, like, people who are truly crazy, who are at the top of the pecking order, and they're yelling, go into the Capitol building. It's like, no. It's like, there needs to be... counteractivity to that. Yeah, it's just like I wish.
Guess what? You and what army? The best white person saying ever. You and what army?
Yeah, it was just like the U.S. Army. It's like why would we go into the Capitol building? We should go into the Capitol building. Why? If I was standing next to that guy, I'd literally have a megaphone and be like, why? They're like, we need to go into the Capitol building. Why? I would just troll him. I would just love to troll the guy a little bit.
That's how I kind of feel like with this country as well, with the whole weaponry, like people like holding and try to hoard so much weapons. Oh, we're gonna get this is our amendment right. If the government ever gets out of line, we could dust them. I'm thinking like, bro, if if you stepped outside, they have drones, they have AC-130s, they have all these different thermals and lasers and Gatlins, and they have basically a limitless budget. Their budget is in the trillions. You telling me you
So is
with
their
your
deficit.
47 guns? True.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
You're telling me you with your 47 guns and your 20 rounds of each weapon is gonna make a dent into a tank or those trucks or
John Wick ain't real. Sorry to tell
I hate
y'all.
to say it, but yeah, I
He's
love
not.
I
And
love
it
I
ain't-
love
and it ain't
Asher.
true.
I love
It ain't
Asher.
true.
And if Asher,
all the person gotta just do is hit a button on their little touchpad and that's it.
well, here's the thing though about
Nobody
troops
in it
being
either.
being
exactly.
deployed in the United States. In order for troops to be deployed in the United States, there has to be approval from the president.
Of course.
And I mean, the
I'm
only
just
one
thinking like they're looking at a
happened-
thermoscope. They're looking like, okay,
But what
wait till he
happened
walks
at
out
the
his
Boston
house.
bombing? What happened with the Boston bombers?
Oh, well, they got
Troops
fucked up.
troops were deployed.
Well, that was they got deployed, but it was mostly like after like it was the National Guard. The only ones that are actually able to operate on U.S. soil without full like compensation or like full
Authority?
orders from the United States or from the height of the United States is the National Guard. The National Guard can act on behalf of like city governments if the city governments declare it a state of emergency.
By the way, the National Guard was the spearhead of the invasion of Iraq.
Yeah.
They've proven themselves totally capable of wrecking house. I would put the National Guard in the United States against a lot of world militaries.
I would too. I mean, honestly, we got the levels to it. I mean, the National Guard, I'm not going to say they're at the lowest rung of the ladder, but they're in the middle. I'd say they're up there with
There's
like the
one
Army.
reason why you will find more military experience than in the National Guard when it comes to combat than you will in the regular military, because a lot of those guys get out and they still have the National Guard or the reserve contracts a couple of years after they get out. So you're talking about grizzly seasoned motherfuckers that can just be called into action.
And then of course, you got like at the top you have the Marines, which the Marines are fucking crazy. They're nuts.
Yeah.
They are far from the top.
You'd think that?
Oh yeah. The Marines are far from the top.
They're definitely tough.
They're the grunts for sure. But when you're talking about special operators and shit, nah. Those are from the Navy. 100%.
Well, I was gonna say the Marines are part of the Navy.
They're the department of the Navy.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
But the SEALs are in the Navy. They're the Navy. Navy SEALs.
Yeah, and then of course you got the Army Rangers. Then you got
SWCC. In the Navy, you have the most Medal of Honors. You have. It's just a list that I could go through, but it would take a lot of time. Where it's like
my 8th grade teacher was a Navy SEAL. I was terrified of her.
I'll bet.
I was terrified, and the 2 teachers I had. That was the most scariest year I have ever had. Because
I don't know, man. I don't know if she was a SEAL. She was probably in the special, because I don't know if there's been a female SEAL ever. I don't think so.
I know. Okay, she told me she was in 100% in the Navy. So
She
maybe
was
not.
She could have been. I mean, there's like different branches of Spec Ops, because you have to understand the Navy SEALs can't get most of the time where they're going by themselves. They also have to be extracted. There's different units that do all the shit that like support the SEALs, and they're also special operators. So they have to be fucking crazy.
Maybe IT. It's been a long while since I spoke with her, but I know she told me she was in the Navy, and I know she talked about the SEALs. She talked about a few, obviously that's unclassified missions that she did, and why she's like so fucking tough and scary. And then my homeroom teacher was a Marine, so I had a Marine teacher and a Navy teacher in the same year.
Yeah,
those are my teachers I switched between. I was in fucking state of fear the whole entire year because the woman, she was a Dominican. No, yes, she was Dominican. She was Dominican, so she had anger because Spanish women are always angry. That's just a fact. And then my Marine teacher was a black guy, and ironically, his last name was Black.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
they were terrifying. Yeah, I don't.
So
Yeah,
the
but they're
Marines
awesome.
and the corpsmen are like this, right? So they're like, if there's
Semper
if
Fi.
there's
Well,
Marines out in the field, they have a Navy corpsman with them, an FMF Fleet Marine Force corpsman
and
who's trained to go with them, and so
I
a
was going to
lot of
say the
times.
SEALs, like a lot of but you were saying like on the SEALs, like SEALs as well. MARSOC, the Marines Special
Mhm.
Operations Unit,
Have
like
corpsmen and
they're basically they basically do the same training at the same grounds and go on the same types of missions. And
they're
but
definitely they're definitely the more utilized, more like if a SEAL team goes out, this is some fucking epic crazy shit.
yeah,
If if MARSOC goes, and there's also the joint operations that happen where they have units that are above everything because it's Rangers, SEALs, Air Force special operators from every branch working together in one team. It's like dream team. There are these fucking super
oh yeah,
teams of, but they don't even. That's beyond what is known to the general public. It's not like SEAL Team 6, you can find out who was in it and all this shit. These other ones, you just fucking can't. They're
well, and
like,
Hmm.
also how many of them are operating within the black budget of the trillions of dollars that that went missing from the Pentagon? Wink, wink.
dude, that's what I think the UFO shit is. I really think.
Distraction.
I know.
Yeah.
I think it's our shit, man. I think it's our shit that's just beyond
Yeah. All right. So Chad, what did you want to discuss?
that. We can skip over to your topic. That was a long. We've been going off on all kinds of crazy shit.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna bring it back around, and I'm just gonna, I guess, end on a little bit more of like a gamer note.
Oh,
So,
Bring it around town.
yeah. So, a couple things. So in terms of gaming, Alien. Alien is going to be in Dead by Daylight.
Yep. And they just
okay.
added Nicolas Cage.
Yes. So Nicolas Cage versus the Xenomorph. That is easily to me one of the most epic. Just be like, I don't ever remember going to space, but now that I'm here, I'm gonna kill me a motherfucking alien. Yeah, I can definitely see that.
God damn it.
Rick's camera died. As soon as I say it, Rick's camera dies. He got attacked by a Xenomorph.
Nah.
Let me just.
But there's that, and then also there's a growing movement right now in terms of Marvel fans. They need to stop making Disney Plus series already because they mostly suck.
Yeah.
There's a growing movement in the Marvel fan base that is just like cancel the Disney Plus shows. They aren't working.
I just don't understand. Like, it would be different if they were doing something brand new.
Yeah, but instead they're
Netflix
doing
did this shit to near perfection. The Iron Fist, compared to almost every Disney Plus series, is way better. And Iron Fist sucked.
yeah. Iron Fist was
In,
terrible.
in comparison to any of the Disney Plus Marvel shit, it's pretty good.
Oh yeah, but I mean,
It's pretty good.
especially season 2 because season 2 of Iron Fist is better than the first season. Luke
True.
Cage, both seasons of that was great. I
Power
thought
Man.
the only
Power Man.
I will say this: the only thing that I hated was that Marshala Ali was gone so fast in that.
Mm.
Now, albeit they got a great actress Alfre Woodard to play the main villain throughout most of the series, but dude, Marshala Ali as Cottonmouth. You can't come on, dude. You had him as one of the best actors in one of the best positions to play a truly methodical villain that could challenge Luke Cage, but not with his fist, but with his mind, and basically run circles around Luke. But no, we didn't get that.
Instead, it's like with Daredevil, they took Wilson Fisk and they milked him as much as they can for Daredevil basically almost all 3 seasons.
I mean, he's a big villain that overarches multiple different franchises.
Oh yeah,
so Spider-Man and all that kind of sorts.
Yeah,
and Deadpool, I think at some point.
Punisher also. He's involved with Punisher also.
But it's like with Cottonmouth, especially like I said, with that actor, it was chef kiss.
Could have went so far.
Yeah, they could have incorporated him in so many different ways on top of that too.
Look what they did with the Mandarin, dude. I mean,
Also, on Luke Cage, one last thing. Thomas Jones being in that series was fucking awesome.
Thomas Jones is the man.
Local kid from where we're from, man. I mean, I love that. Dude.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Power Man. I never thought, dude. If you would have asked me in 2013, like what the odds of there being a Luke Cage live action series like that, I would be like, not an iceberg's chance in hell.
and dude, not only did it exist, but it was actually pretty damn good.
It was very good.
It was
very good.
I would say
those are the kind of characters that they have at their disposal that people give a shit about. Like, why did they make the Eternals film? Who cares? Nobody was interested in a single character in that whole movie. Not a single one.
It's this right here, Chad. Diversity checklist.
Have you ever?
That's it.
Have you ever looked at a comic or been interested in a story that had them as more than a footnote? Because I didn't.
No,
they're just part of some briefly described lore for a bunch of shit that I care about, and I'm just like, okay.
And here's what blows me away. That's getting a sequel.
Huh?
The Eternals is getting a sequel. Yes, you heard that right.
My brother in Christ, we want Blade, okay? We don't want the Eternals.
Yeah.
Blade is so vastly more important than the Eternals.
Give me Daredevil, give me Punisher, give me Blade. Shit, whatever.
Give me the Midnight Suns, dude.
Give me more Deadpool.
Deadpool,
more
we're finally getting part 3. Spider-Man, Tom Holland's taking a break from acting, so it might be a little bit.
I mean, he was getting piped in this one movie he was in.
That Apple TV series, it was not good.
Yeah,
not good.
He was getting revenge because his little missus was getting piped up by 2 boys in her movie. So Tom Holland's like, you know what? I'll do you better. I get piped up by a black man.
Why'd you bring race into this, Rig?
It's a statement. It's a statement.
All right. But here's my whole thing, Tom. Let me just say
Tom Holland said, "I need a black man
in my ass."
Yeah.
Oh God.
Zendaya was not the black man for him.
Well, here's what I'll say about Zendaya. Tom, please, just hear me out, Tom. You don't need to sacrifice your mental health for Zendaya. Zendaya is mid as fuck. There are
Don't be Will Smith. Don't be Will Smith.
No, don't, man, don't. You don't have to be curtailed down by a woman because you feel like, if I don't have her, I'm nothing, dude. You're fucking Spider-Man. You're Spider-Man. You're one of the biggest stars in the world. It's like Will Smith. What has Jada Pinkett Smith done since the Matrix movies? The role that she got because he recommended her for it after he turned down the original role of Neo.
Dude, Will Smith would have been a badass Neo.
No, don't get me wrong. I love Keanu, but Will Smith, I would have loved to have seen a version of it with Will Smith as Neo.
Will Smith as Blade. Make it happen.
No. We already got Marshala Ali filling in for Blade.
Bring back Wesley Snipes, dude. Wesley Snipes was the perfect Blade.
Unfortunately, Hollywood's done with Wesley Snipes after the whole tax evasion.
Dude?
Because of tax evasion stuff, dude.
Who cares? They did You know
Everybody does it.
Well, I know
You know how
everybody
much
does it,
shit
but
they
he got
do?
caught. He got caught, and Hollywood doesn't like that. Hollywood's just like, well, we can't be seen, having a tax evader, here because we have I think it was actually the Weinstein Company that issued a statement on why they're not employing Wesley Snipes anymore back in like 2015, 2016. And lo and behold, what happened a couple years later? Yeah.
Dude. And tell me why nobody says shit about Woody Allen. But we can't use Wesley Snipes. Like, dude, get
It's
out
funny.
of here.
It's funny you say that because I was on Facebook and I was looking at posts about the belt or the chain and all that, and all of a sudden I see a meme from King of the Hill, and it's just like, I got a quote for you, Peggy. The heart wants what it wants. Woody Allen. And then all of a sudden Peggy's just like Woody Allen married his daughter. What are you talking about? Yeah. He married his his adoptive daughter, Sun-Yi Priven. He broke up with what was her name? Mia. But
Khalifa? Okay.
She's not young enough for him.
You see this face, Rick? This is the face of someone who did not find that. Okay, fuck it. I did find it funny. I was just trying to maintain it. Damn, you got me.
I knew it was gonna break you.
Fuck. But no, Mia Khalifa, not no. Unfortunately, Mia Farrow. He was in a relationship with Mia Farrow for a long time. Then they adopted a small Asian girl. I forget, Cambodian, I think. I think Sun-Yi might be Cambodian.
I have no clue.
But anyway, they adopted her,
ethnicity.
and then as soon as Sun-Yi turned like 18 or 19, Woody and her started having an affair behind Mia Farrow's back, and then Woody broke up with Mia Farrow and married Sun-Yi Priven, his adoptive daughter. Fucked up, right?
Oh no, those allegations have already been made by her other children.
Oh yeah. But
yeah, dude, there's a lot to that shit. And it's so fucked up because here we go. Let's not cast Wesley Snipes,
Hollywood's done with Woody Allen too. I mean, Woody Allen, he got canceled. Didn't you hear? It's like, has he served jail time? No. Then guess what? Justice has not been served.
No, not at all.
True.
But he is still revered as a filmmaker and revered as a talent, regardless of what they say. He has a huge following and is still taught in art schools and shit like that.
I respect him as a filmmaker, but I do not respect the man. I look at Annie Hall and it's a very well made film, but watching it now, I just feel dirty.
It's gross because he's always an old man having inappropriate relationships. It's gross. A lot of his stuff is about him being a predator and forcing himself on women.
Yeah.
And it's just like, bro,
either it's a miraculous, like, for some reason, this amazingly hot, attractive person finds this nerdy, bookish dickhead of a character interesting and wants to fuck him. I'm like,
nah.
Where are these women and where can I get some of that? Yeah, that.
Now we're white women at.
Rick, you keep making this a race thing.
I think about his soundbite. That's why.
Sure, blame it on Nate. I know you're a Taliban sleeper, dude. We've already found you out.
Yeah.
He was looking around, and I remember I was looking around and whatever. I'm looking at a swig of alcohol. Fuck yeah.
Ow. I got that weird ringing in my ear. Whenever you like hear like a wee.
Yeah.
It just appears out of nowhere.
It's called playing rock and roll, Nate.
I hate it. Oh,
tetanus.
Can't hear you, Chad.
Huh?
Tetanus?
Hold on.
Tinnitus? King
Can you hear
Titan?
me?
Hello?
Teen
Hello?
Titans, go.
Hello?
Go Power Rangers.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Okay.
Not
Go
sure what
Power
happened.
Rangers.
That was dumb. But all right, yeah. So overall, like I was saying, with all the stuff that's happening with Marvel, I mean, they've already they've been on a downhill decline for like at least the last 2 or 3 years.
I just finished Secret Wars. You know what I can tell you about it?
Nothing.
Samuel L. Jackson.
That's about it.
He was there.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. I gave up. Like I didn't watch the last movie which came out, which was what? Ant-Man and the Wasp, I think.
Secret Wars involved so many superheroes in the comics. Do you know how many of them were in the show? None of them that I remember.
Absolutely zero.
I mean, I remember it being a thing, the Skrulls, and then they could fucking camouflage themselves as whoever and whatever. But all this, I mean, it was just like, had it been its own thing separated from Marvel, it would have flopped like a fucking flaccid penis, dude. I mean, this thing was uninteresting. It was the only interesting thing is you got to see. Are you guys going to watch it? Can I spoil it for you?
I don't give a
spoilers. Okay, so pretty much Samuel L. Jackson has a wife. Nick Fury has a wife who's a Skrull. And she got her, appearance and everything from a dying woman who is going to go on. She agreed to let her take her identity and everything and go on to live her life as her. She just wanted her to find love and to treat that person right because she never got to. So the Skrull took her identity and took her personality and went on and found Nick Fury. And then they wanted her to turn on Nick Fury and kill him, but she couldn't do it because she did love him and they had a real relationship. So Nick Fury was in this situation where he found out his wife, who he was incredibly in love with, was a Skrull. And it didn't make him love her any less. So there was like this thing going on. And that's like interesting character work. That's interesting. And that's okay about Nick, but everything surrounding it was just like,
meh.
I could have done without it, for sure. Nothing was awesome about it. And I watched all of it. I watched everything that they put out simply so that I have a clear opinion of it. I know every episode. I know exactly what happened. And I can say to anybody that wants to argue, this was shit. It was horrible. I watched one Ring of Power episode that Amazon put out 5 times because I fell asleep so much. And I still made myself watch it to completion just so I could say, without a shadow of a doubt, Rings of Power had some of the worst writing I've ever seen. I've ever tried to watch. I've ever tried to enjoy. It would make great sleep stories for people.
Yeah.
If you want to fall asleep, just put that series on. You'll go to bed.
Easily. Yeah.
It's boring as all hell. And I love Lord of the Rings. I've read the Silmarillion. It was hard, and it took me a long time. I had to take like 2 years to read that thing.
Damn.
Yeah.
I gave up on Marvel. Marvel was a movie, series, saga, trilogy, all the ologies that I dearly, dearly, dearly appreciated. And then once Endgame hit, and then the next Spider-Man, that Spider-Man was like, after that, everything went downhill.
Spider-Man has carried everything. I will say I've enjoyed every Spider-Man movie that's come out, but the Venom shit is mid, and it has no excuse for it. Once they made Cletus Cassidy in love, I was like, I'm done, bro. Carnage is not in love, bro. Sorry to tell you.
Carnage is a brutal bastard.
Ever since that last Spider-Man movie, I just stopped taking everything serious. I just gave up. Now, I watched all of Loki. I watched all of Scarlet Witch or
Loki was a good series. Loki was the best Disney Plus series out of.
I agree.
It is the best Disney series out of all of them.
I mean, season 2 is coming out soon.
Yeah, that's another thing
but
I
I'm
saw.
I
scared.
think Moon Knight is a close second. Or, well, not
Yes.
even close second. It's there.
Yeah, Moon
It's
Knight was
second.
good.
Moon Knight was pretty good.
Miss Marvel was.
I haven't watched it yet. I've been
It's
told it's all right.
yeah, it's not revolutionary.
No,
It's
it's
it's just a
safe.
yeah, it's safe. It's passable.
Hmm.
I was not gonna review much because I was gonna watch it, but it's just obviously it's a young girl. It's a young girl who just acquires powers,
Yeah.
and she always looked up to a person with the name that she inherited, which is
Hmm.
Marvel.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And it you see her story, whatever. It's pretty decent. It's not bad. But Moon Knight was phenomenal to me. Loki was phenomenal to me. WandaVision, it
Horrible.
it was a hit or miss for me. Some episodes were a hit.
I thought it was
Most
so
episodes
bad.
were a miss.
When I first watched it, I thought WandaVision was all right, like a 7 out of 10. Going back and watching it again and realizing all the plot discrepancies and all the bullshit, I'm like,
Yep.
this is not good. This is like a easily like a 4 or 5 out of 10 now.
I thought it
Uh,
was horrible when I watched it.
mm,
I didn't like any of it. And I mean, I love Lucy and all that shit. Like I watched the late night Nickelodeon shit when it was
Hmm.
running and everything. I thought it was
hmm
pretty cool, and I think it's cool to have a throwback like that. And I got the psychology behind it, but I just was like, this is a bookmark in the Marvel story. Like this could have been told in a episode, 30 minutes long.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or even mentioned in the movie. Say,
Yeah,
oh, what happened to Wanda? Well, there was a city that we can no longer locate, and
yep.
that was her last
5 minute
origin point.
flashback.
That was her
Boom.
last origin point, and it's just you just see her
Yeah.
in an empty field, then just summon power, and then a big dome, and then boom, and then another 2 minutes of the movie. So okay, what happened to Wanda in a different movie? Oh, she held the people there hostage, because of
Or
other alternate universes where she had kids, and then
or
just boom, flashback. And then oh my god, my kids. Power, vision. Boom. Then wrap it up.
or they could have done something revolutionary. I don't know. How about giving Scarlet Witch her own movie with an actual interesting story? I mean,
Yeah,
that's a
instead of making her the Scarlet Witch during that little show and expanding on her little story through Doctor Strange movie, which really wasn't much about Doctor Strange because technically it was about the multiverse.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Doctor Strange was not really a movie for him. Even though yes, he was talking to other hymns, but he was also talking to other heroes and other people from different universe. So it was a multiverse movie. But
Yeah.
they just slapped the title Doctor Strange on it and showed Scarlet Witch as the main villain for that
Marvel's
one.
hammered. Marvel's hammered. It's
It's
over for
over.
them.
It's over right now for me. I am not interested in watching anything else Marvel related. So,
Yeah,
I
Endgame is just Endgame. That
that
was
was
their
it.
Endgame.
That was it, in my
After that,
opinion.
after that was their Endgame. They made their billions. That was the most sold movie theaters movie in the whole entire world. They beat Avatar, and
Yeah.
that was like I think that was like their main goal. They kept on prolonging to watch Endgame in theaters longer than their typical Marvel movies. They kept it in theaters for maybe I think almost like a year and a half or a year,
Yeah.
and they managed to get like 2.5 billion from it. So
Mm-hmm.
they made their money on it, and then now there's like,
That's
oh, these fans are stupid. They're dumb. They're gonna eat whatever we make them. So here's She-Hulk, and we're gonna have her twerk with Megan Thee Stallion, and they're gonna like it. No,
no. And it's like, where'd all of our audience go? What happened? Uh, well, anyway, I am gonna end it here, y'all. I guess that's because we've got an hour worth of stuff here. It's hour and
Hell
four
yeah.
minutes right now for me. So, all right, I guess until next time, y'all need to find Jesus. Y'all, so y'all be safe out
Where
there.
is he?
Oh, I don't know. There's Johnny.
I think he's in here.
Ah,
He might be in here.
I'm so happy, 'cause today I found my friends. They're in my head. Oh, there he goes. Get it, Rick. So,
I think I found him.
yeah. Everyone, thank you all so much for staying with us and being with us on this podcast. And I guess until next time, I'm Nate.
I'm Rick.
And we'll see you in the next one, everybody. Bye-bye.